Greetings all! Drink your OJ. Here to discuss the juice. In part, the story of an NFL star who got caught up in a life of crime. I'm not talking about OJ though. That would be pretty funny. I'm talking about Michael Vick. But what the fuck does Michael Vick have to do with anything? Well, I wouldn't have thought much of anything either, but believe it or not, this is a video about Tucker Carlson and his backwards ass death penalty quote heard round the world. So today is May 28, 2023, and while you prepare that fresh squeezed orange juice for the report, let's watch this brief clip from TYT for context.
Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News host who incites violence and wreaks havoc through cable news, dabbled in sports every once in a while, and when he did it, it was about what you would expect.
Michael Vick's legal troubles don't start and end with a federal indictment against him. According to Friday's Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the state of Virginia is going to seek to indict Vick for dogfighting and killing dogs, both state felonies.
When it comes to the case of former NFL star Michael Vick.
Former NFL star Michael Vick has pleaded guilty to a state dogfighting charge in Virginia. The former Atlanta Falcons quarterback is already serving time in a federal prison for similar charges he pleaded guilty to in 2007. Back then, he admitted to bankrolling a dogfighting ring as well as killing the animals.
Tucker had very Tucker thoughts.
President Obama, it has been confirmed by the White House, called the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, and during the course of their conversation, thanked him for giving Michael Vick a second chance. Now, I'm a Christian. I've made mistakes myself. I believe fervently in second chances. But Michael Vick killed dogs, and he did in a heartless and cruel way. And I think, personally, he should have been executed for that. He wasn't.
Wait, what did Tucker say?
Now, I'm a Christian. I've made mistakes myself. I believe fervently in second chances. But Michael Vick killed dogs, and he did in a heartless and cruel way. And I think, personally, he should have been executed for that. He wasn't.
Carlson believed Vick should have, his quote, been executed. Tucker Carlson, the man who neo-Nazis cling to for his pandering rhetoric, a man who admittedly took a job with a magazine because he was not bright enough for other lines of work, thought Vick should die.
It was a crime that shocked the nation. In April 2007, investigators uncovered an illegal dogfighting operation on the Virginia farm of NFL superstar quarterback Michael Vick. Vick pleaded guilty to animal cruelty. He served 19 months in a federal prison.
Vick, who would serve his time for a crime that is so incredibly inhumane, many protesters argued he deserved more and maybe he should have. However, for Carlson, it was game on. First, he, like many conservatives, used religion as a shield for violence. As Stu Bykowski would write, his religion is immaterial, and in its most idealistic form, Christianity should oppose the death penalty.
I love how he prefaces it by saying he's a Christian. Really? Is that what Jesus would do? Would Jesus have been calling for retribution in blood?
He'd cap it off with an ageless take. Tucker Carlson has become an avatar for what is wrong with TV talk shows, most especially on cable. The producers and the ratings reward the schmuck who makes the most outrageous comments. As if the execution quote wasn't good enough, Carlson went on to call Vick some creepy, rich, overpaid football player, wrote WES at the time. Vick saw his first dogfight at 7 years old. He worked with the Humane Society and had spoken with schools and community groups since serving 18 months in federal prison. For Carlson, who clings to being pro-life for decades, suddenly this goes against his laurels, with Vick as the subject. Elmer Smith would write in the Philadelphia Daily News at the time, "You ever notice how often some patently unchristian statement is prefaced by a profession of faith? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, as if it is Christ-like to equate human life with the lives of animals." At the time, the President of the United States was conservative favorite Barack Obama fulfilling his first term. He would place a call to Philadelphia Eagles team owner Jeffrey Lurie to praise him and offer thanks for giving the quarterback a second chance. For the billionaire, President Obama would say, "It's never a level playing field for prisoners when they get out of jail." Thus, Carlson had more ammo to work with.
Why is the president weighing in on this? The president doesn't need to weigh in on this and every other little crisis or burp in the national story.
Aged well with Trumpism, didn't it? Via Elder Smith once more. There's no mistaking that what really opened this right-winger's bile ducts was not Vick's crime, as much as it was a chance to skewer the president. Much of the commentary on the blogosphere this week is about the president, not Vick. Only after serious backlash months later, Carlson would say, Anybody who looks into how he mistreated these dogs and personally tortured them to death gets upset, and I overspoke. I'm not comfortable with the death penalty under any circumstances. Of course, I don't think he should be executed.
So, if you're beginning to wonder if Tucker Swanson Carlson is the kind of person that he would lead you to believe him to be, you're not alone in questioning that. Obviously, the Dominion lawsuit is plenty of evidence that Tucker Carlson has both a public and private opinion on matters. He doesn't share his private opinion with his audience. That's why it's a private opinion. So if you are a viewer of Tucker Carlson and you seem to believe that he tells it like it is, as so many people seem to feel, look at the Dominion lawsuit. He doesn't. Like, that's just a fact. He tells his audience one thing, but privately, he believes another thing. There's a word that's a favorite of mine that describes a person who behaves in that way. A hypocrite is one, but even more than that, Tucker Carlson is a charlatan. He's somebody who believes that he has the ability to deliver opinions in a way that is relatable and believable to the, quote, everyman. And, you know, maybe charlatan isn't the right word for Swanson Carlson, because when it comes down to it, he is a very good propagandist. So if that's what he's trying to do, which I would argue it is, then he's actually doing a very good job of it, which would make charlatan the wrong word. The hypocrite certainly still fits. After departing from Fox News following the Dominion lawsuit, he rather quickly paired up with somebody who I think is definitely a charlatan, and that's my favorite rich fuck, Elon Musk. And of course, these two could not stay apart. As soon as Swanson Carlson disappeared from Fox, Musk decided to scoop him up for Twitter. So, we have headlines here. Tucker Carlson is headed to Twitter. Why he and Elon Musk are a good fit in the worst way. The very first thing that they mention is Tucker Carlson can't be trusted. In the meantime, Carlson was revealed to have texted a racist and bizarre comment to a former producer after the January 6th insurrection. Previously reported texts found him lying to his audience, promoting things on the air he clearly didn't believe in private, and calling for a reporter to be fired for daring to fact-check Donald Trump's election lies. In other words, Carlson can't be trusted. So, that shouldn't be news to anybody who watches the news, but maybe you don't. So, there you go. This didn't stop him from spending most of the 3-minute video raving about things like, at the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie. A lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. Carlson yammered on about the First Amendment, which guarantees the right to free speech. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech, he said. The last big one remaining, the only one, is Twitter. Remember when Musk blocked the accounts of several prominent journalists? Carlson didn't mention that. Most of the bans were later lifted. And this, of course, is referencing the video that Carlson posted announcing the Twitter, I don't know if partnership is the right word, but essentially partnership. Hate speech increased almost immediately after Musk took the reins of the platform. Trump hasn't tweeted since the reinstatement, preferring his own Truth Social as a vehicle for spreading misinformation. This makes Twitter perfect for Carlson and his hectoring bullying style, his white nationalist leanings, and his overall obnoxious manner. This is not to say that Twitter should keep Carlson off the platform. It's Musk's railroad now, and he can run it however he wants to. For the same reason suspending Trump was not a violation of the former president's right to free speech, Twitter is a private company, not a government entity. Musk can welcome anyone he wants. That said, anyone in their right mind who believes in responsible free speech, responsible being the key, wouldn't want Carlson's show anywhere. So, will Tucker Carlson's fans follow him to Twitter? Well, Carlson has an audience. Surely a sizable chunk of it will follow him to Twitter, where he has almost 7 million followers. But the idea of a completely unfiltered version of him, like what we see in his texts, is enough to make you shudder or log off of Twitter altogether. Carlson and Musk deserve each other. The rest of us don't deserve this. And that's how I feel about Carlson going to Twitter. I can't wait to get blocked by him, and of course, if I'm not blocked by him, I'll block him myself. There's nothing that Twitter can do to force his content onto me, and if they think they can, I'm just gonna leave the platform. So, unsurprisingly, one group loves the new Twitter: Republicans. A politically divided country is headed toward different social media platforms. So, the news that freshly ousted right-wing firebrand Tucker Carlson is starting a show on Twitter is the latest and the surest sign that Elon Musk is transforming his $44 billion plaything into a conservative social media platform, presumably one geared towards Republicans put off by Fox News, which fired Carlson 2 weeks ago. His Twitter feed has shown him to be a weirdly thirsty reply guy to right-wing randos, a promoter of conspiracy theories, and a free speech absolutist, which Musk seems to define in terms similar to those used by MAGA trolls. His commitment didn't extend to standing up to the Indian government, which asked Twitter to delete links to a BBC documentary critical of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a request that Musk granted. Musk freed many of those MAGA trolls from Twitter purgatory when he took over the service, including a certain former president. Most people, including economists who spend serious time on Twitter, say that the quality of the discourse has plummeted, while hate and harassment have spiked. Advertisers have fled in droves. But at least one group is thrilled with Musk's Twitter makeover: Republicans. And Republicans aren't imagining things. Twitter really is turning red, and the hardcore MAGA crowd are true believers. Conservative media is moving from cable news to social media, says Steve Bannon. And given Musk's fixation on amplifying speech that generates outrage and spooks advertisers, Carlson is probably the perfect hire. If nothing else, he'll attract plenty of attention. The lawyers have certainly noticed. Before Carlson made his announcement, he accused Fox of fraud, presumably to get in front of the fact that a Twitter show would violate the terms of his Fox contract. A spokesman for Carlson declined to comment. So that is one interesting twist to this whole thing, is that Carlson is under contract with Fox until 2025. And obviously, if he intends to get paid for that contract, he can't have a show on Twitter. So either he is going to forego that money, which I can't imagine anyone doing when you literally don't have to do anything and you get paid, $20 million or whatever it is left on his contract. But I think he's going for the fraud angle so that he can claim that Fox actually violated the contract and therefore they still have to pay him, and he can go ahead and do his show on Twitter. So we'll see how it plays out. Meanwhile, Musk is managing to alienate Democratic users in a way that seems more and more permanent. Even before Carlson traded Fox News for Twitter, Liberals put off by Musk's behavior were already decamping to Mastodon, Post, Substack Notes, or the latest social media promised land, Jack Dorsey's Blue Sky. The era when Twitter was the major arena for online combat between the two parties feels like a relic of the past. Democrats and Republicans no longer watch the same news shows, consume the same brands, or believe the same election outcomes. Soon enough, they might not use the same social media platforms either. Just the ingredient that we need to really start civil war in this country. More division, more bubbles for people to hide in, more camps for people to retreat to. These are not good things for a functioning democracy. Tucker Carlson's Twitter show could make Elon Musk's Advertiser Headache a whole lot worse. And this really, to me, shows just Musk's total incompetence at being a businessman. His main problem at Twitter is the fact that he can't get enough revenue. And most of the revenue that they get comes from advertisers. And advertisers hate Swanson Carlson for a million obvious reasons. So if you've got somebody that toxic and you're already trying to stop hemorrhaging on your platform due to toxicity on the platform, I don't see how bringing somebody more toxic than what you already have, like maybe Musk thinks it'll make everything go full circle and just like get so toxic that it's not toxic anymore. I don't know. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter, Carlson said in a Tuesday video shared on Twitter. We bring some other things too, which we'll tell you about, but for now, we're just grateful to be here. His presence alone could spook the advertisers that Twitter would need to compete with YouTube, far and away the top digital platform for video news. YouTube has sought to maintain its market position by aggressively policing content to decide which videos are monetized by advertisers, a policy loathed by conservative creators who have lost out on ad revenue. Given that Musk fancies himself a, quote, free speech absolutist, it seems unlikely that similar advertiser-friendly measures will be taken at Twitter, even if advertisers are one of its biggest sources of revenue. It's also worth remembering that a jump to video, a medium that theoretically offers more potential for advertisers than written posts, can only work if top advertisers are willing to play ball with the talent. That has not been true for Carlson. His obsession with racial demographics and his attacks on immigrants and Black Lives Matter protesters caused blue-chip brands to drop his Fox News show, despite the impressive viewership it pulled on a nightly basis. Musk says, "I also want to be clear that we have not signed a deal of any kind whatsoever. Tucker is subject to the same rules and rewards of all content creators." So, Musk keeping a little bit of distance from Swanson Carlson. Meanwhile, on the technical side of things, Twitter has a whole host of problems to overcome. Its current video player is an apparent afterthought that regularly experiences bugs and lacks a basic control panel for viewers to adjust quality levels or launch a pop-out player. Moreover, a dedicated hub for users to watch suggested clips, search for videos, or build playlists is non-existent on Twitter's current user interface. Twitter Blue, the pay-for-play verification scheme, has drawn negligible subscribers and certainly not enough to make up for the chunk of advertisers it helped scare off. After being cornered into purchasing Twitter for $44 billion in October, Musk, in a March email to employees, valued the company at just $20 billion. But in the same email, he predicted Twitter could someday be worth as much as $250 billion. And someday, we'll be living in little colonies on Mars. So, someday. But that day is not today. unfortunately, for our friend Elon Musk. But it is a good day to be alive. Hope everybody enjoys it. If you do, go ahead and hit that like button. This is Drink Your OJ with another Juice Report. Everyone have a good one.